What's going on, traders? In this video, we're going to be comparing prop firms versus live cash accounts. We're going to take a look at prop firms in general, the futures prop firm that I trade with, Top 1 Futures, look at the rule set, and then compare that against trading our own personal capital in a cash account. I think there's unique benefits and drawbacks to going both paths. Let's break it down in this video. And before we get started, if you don't know me from a hole in the wall, my name's Zach. I trade live on YouTube, 100% free almost every day. This is my YouTube page. All of my live sessions stay up here. If you want to come and check me out, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 100% free. I don't claim to be the best trader. I don't claim to know it all, have some magic strategy, but I'm more than happy to show you what real live trading looks like for me day in and day out. Wins, losses, and break evens. Smash subscribe if you want to check that out and hop in the 100% free trading Discord. Now let's get into it. So I don't know a better way to do this than to just kind of sit on Top 1 Futures website, take a look at the different rules, and kind of compare that against trading a live cash account. Pretty obvious what goes into trading a live cash account. Capital and very little rules outside of the actual brokerage that you're trading on, margin requirements, and the contracts that you're trading if you're in the futures market. So we'll kind of go step by step, taking a look at what these accounts are and how each is either going to be maybe a benefit or a drawback. I also don't think there's any one single answer to this question. I think it's going to come down to the individual. Like a lot of trading, there's no one best, one single right or wrong. There's a lot of gray areas, and it comes down to you as an individual, who you are, where you're at with your personal trading journey, your finances. Along with that, guys, I am biased. I'm partnered affiliated with Top 1 Futures. You want to check them out. Code RDF gets you the best deals. So let's take a look at if we wanted to come to the prop firm space, right? Maybe we're a new trader and we say, we want to start trading. We've traded on demo for a while. We're ready to put risk on the line. Well, we can go straight to a sim funded account, or we can put money in our own account and trade it live in a personal brokerage account. So starting with that first thought process, right? How much money do you need to go either route? If you're coming from demo, you've been trading for a while, hopefully, you have the basics worked out of whatever platform you're going to be on. You say, okay, it's time to put money on the line. I'm going to go with a win in the prop firm column for this one because it's a very low barrier for entry. So these are the prices for instant sim funded accounts. Again, you actually get 40% off, not just 30% off right now with code RDF, but these get you directly into a funded account where you have to follow their rules and maybe work towards a payout. You can even look at the challenge accounts here and how low the barrier for entry, starting at just $44. That is a monthly reoccurring fee to take a challenge, right? If you were going to put any amount of money in a live brokerage account and attempt to trade futures, and I think we're just going to keep it on futures. We're not going to look at CFDs or really crazy high leverage Forex stuff like that. We're just going to keep it on, US regulated futures brokerages. And if you were going to trade live with one of them, you would probably want more than just a couple $100s to get started. Why? There's a margin requirement to trade these accounts. And starting out, I don't even know if you can do anything with $44. I don't think that you can. But starting out with a real low bankroll, maybe just a couple $100s, is not going to give you much room to work at all, even just trading maybe one micro at a time. Now, there are brokerages out there that are designed for guys that want to just trade really small size in micros. They have a pretty good way of doing it. But I would argue that if you wanted to come to the table with the least amount of money and really keep it controlled to start, prop firms are going to be a pretty good option for that. We're going to get into some drawbacks, right? But if that's where you're starting out, I think it would be a pretty good option. Looking at the other side of that, where you say, okay, well, I'm still just starting out, but I got a lot of money, right? I'm happy depositing $25,000, $50,000 into a brokerage account. That's what I have for trading. If you're just starting out, you're likely going to lose money first. And whether you do that with prop firms or in a live account like I did, trading live Forex accounts first with larger 5-figure size accounts, you can kind of go both ways. So I'm not going to put a win in the column of, is it a better idea if you have the capital versus if you just don't have the capital at all? But I think the consideration there would be in the learning stages, how much money do I want to have on the line? If you're trading prop firms, it's fixed. It's just the price of the account. Now, you can get into resetting them. You can get into blowing through them too quickly. But if you're trading with a brokerage account, a live cash account, I'm going to try to designate between live because sometimes we think live prop firm accounts. So we're going to say live cash account for this. If you're trading with a live cash account, you have the entire account at risk, right? Now, you can use stop losses, you can use different risk management tools and strategies, but when you put trades on, you have to recognize that is your entire account balance if you're trading, that could potentially be at risk. We could have a very, very rapid news event. It's uncommon stuff, right? Where a market moves very, very quickly, maybe past an order, past a stop, but you definitely have more risk on the line trading, let's say, a live $25,000 account versus a couple $150,000 prop firm accounts, right? So, that's kind of the thought process for barrier to entry. Now, building off that thought, we can talk about access to capital and leverage, right? The win is obviously going to be in the prop firm column for this one with a very, very low price, looking at, let's say, for example, around the $500 mark for a $150K account with $4,500 of max loss limit of trailing drawdown, working capital, where you can copy trade multiple with just this firm, and maybe you look for other firms. The ability to scale up, to access capital, to have leverage based on the amount of money that you're putting in, which would be the price of the accounts, is going to go in the column of the prop firm. You definitely do not have that access with live cash accounts because that's your money, right? All you have is to deposit is whatever that bankroll is, right? So if you're looking to scale, if you're looking to leverage other people's money, although it is just sim money in the sim environment, prop firms are definitely going to take the win there. And I know I'm heavy on the prop firm stuff first. We're going to get to some of the areas where prop firms are going to hold you back coming up right here. Now, in many other columns, outside the ones that we're talking about right here, cash accounts are going to reign supreme. Here's an example. We're looking at the price of these accounts and then what you get for that price along with all of the rules that you have to follow. And if we come up to the frequently asked questions page, for example, right here, there is a lot of rules that come into trading with prop accounts, right? Many, many rules that we have to follow to potentially work our way towards a payout. So accessing capital, barrier for entry, low risk on the line, leveraging other people's money, prop firms are going to win there. When it comes to following rules, intraday trailing drawdown, end of day trailing drawdown like we have here at top one, max loss limits, right? Contract limits, consistency rules, cash accounts are really going to reign supreme. And that's where I think if you are looking to maybe break out of prop firms or fund your own cash account, those are some serious considerations, right? There's a serious upside. There's really no rules, although as quote, there's definitely rules, right? When it comes to actually trading, you have to follow many different types of rules, but there's no rules in the sense of prop firm rules. You have to do X, Y, Z and follow these to make it to a payout, right? There's no daily loss limit, right? There's for better or for worse. There's no max loss limit outside of the size of your account getting liquidated. There's no consistency rule. You could have a home run day and not have to worry about it, right? So there's a lot more flexibility. It's easier if we're not looking at the psychological piece or the ability to scale. If we put them side by side, without any of these rules, it's easier to make money in a live cash account, right? Now, maybe we take into consideration the psychological factor of having that money on the line, which we'll talk about in a minute, but there's no consistency rule, right? There's no minimum trading days to a payout, right? You don't have to wait and to request a payout. You can hold overnight. You can swing trade if you wanted to in cash accounts, right? If you have the capital to support that. There's no copy trading, there's no leveraging, but you can trade as large a size as you want that your capital will allow for, right? There's no scaling or any of that stuff, which is not all at top one, but just some different things that we see across the industry. So all of that's going to go into the cash account, personal cash account column, right, for a win. Along with that, when it comes to profit splits, taking a payout, there's no such thing, right? In your cash account, if you make $1,000, you have an additional $1,000 in your account. There's no waiting to withdraw. There's no 90-10 profit split. There's no, I have to make $10,000 to maybe take out, $5,000 or $3,500 or, whatever the max payouts are. There's no minimum things you have to do in between payouts. If you make that money, it's yours. You take it out that same day. There is no payout. It's just money made right then and there when you close the trade. So there's obviously a massive benefit there in live cash accounts where the money's yours, right? It's yours when it goes in. Higher risk, much more money on the line, less opportunity to scale, but you make money in that account, make or lose money, it's happening right then and there. There's no jumping through hoops or just having to follow rules in general, even if it's not jumping through hoops, that you do have to follow. So I'm going to say ease of accessing the money that you make with the least amount of friction, it's going to go with the cash account, right? That's pretty obvious as well. Now, coming into the part that I was just touching on, psychology and mindset, right? This one I don't think has a clear winner. I think you would have a camp that would argue it's easier to trade prop accounts because I know I'm only into the accounts for maybe a couple $100, a couple $1,000 if you're copy trading a bunch of them. And it's harder in a live cash account because all of my money's on the line. And my risk per trade might be more than the price of a bunch of prop accounts, right? That's how it was for me when I started trading with live accounts, live, Forex first crypto, and then live Forex accounts with US regulated brokers. The cost per trade, right? The risk per trade to my stop loss was often multiple of these accounts that we're trading here for days or weeks or months at a time. So in one camp, you could definitely say, hey, I think it's more difficult to trade a cash account for that reason. I also think there would be, and I've seen the argument be made, that it's easier to trade a cash account, not just when you look at the risk side of things, but because there's more freedom and flexibility, because you don't have to jump through any psychological hoops or worry about, minimum trading days to pay out, worry about a consistency rule, worry about a daily loss limit. You just have the freedom and flexibility to structure your risk as you see fit and trade whatever style you want to trade, right? Scalping, swing trading, taking on a lot of losses for small wins, larger wins and small losses. You really don't have to worry about custom tailoring anything to any prop firm rules because there are none. I think I'm going to be down the middle with it. I think it's really going to depend on the individual. I think a lot of traders would consider putting, $10,000 into an account crazy. It would feel insane to have that much risk on the line. And I think other traders, maybe that are set up a little bit different financially, would say, I don't find it easy to trade these prop accounts. I'm trying to do too much and it's just more difficult, right? The mindset and psychology that it takes to trade with these harder rules, right? These additional factors that I have to pay attention to and follow is more difficult. So I'm going to go with, a line down the middle for that one. Now, another small piece to touch on is just long-term viability, right? We look at prop firms. We know the prop firm space has changed considerably in the Forex and CFD market, even in the futures market coming into this year. If we look at the futures market in general, or just the financial markets, if we wanted to be extremely general about it, one is a fairly new space that does change. Prices change, rules change, there's differences with brokers, and one has stayed very, very, very consistent. The live cash account with a brokerage account that's been around for a long period of time is going to have the best long-term viability, right? It would be hard to argue that a specific prop firm or prop firms in general would have this same longevity of not changing and kind of being able to do the same thing day in and day out, right? So I think with a very long-term vision, what a lot of us want to be focusing on is trading, right? Learning how to trade, being able to trade well, and then translate those skills from prop firms, maybe continue to scale with prop firms, but also to live, cash accounts, not live funded accounts, live cash brokerage accounts, because they're not going anywhere, right? Like they're not, even if the market changes, the instruments change, which they, haven't for long periods of time. The markets aren't going anywhere, and the ability to put risk on in the markets by way of cash accounts has been around for a long period of time. It's very accessible now. It seems to only be getting more and more accessible for us as just at-home internet, retail traders. Prop accounts, fantastic opportunity. There's many that have been around for long periods of time, but definitely not the same as far as longevity and stability. So if you're at home, thinking about this stuff, comparing the two, I would really look at number one, where are you at in your trading journey, right? How much risk do I want to have on the line? Do I have some consistency? Do I have a reason to believe that I can extract money from the markets? If the answer is yes, because I've demonstrated that before, maybe it makes sense to put more risk on the line with prop accounts or, cash accounts. If you're a beginner coming from demo, I think the prop firm space to step into is a very easy bridge because unfortunately, the way that we know this works truthfully is you're probably going to lose money. I don't know any trader that steps into trading and loses no money. They get their first cash or prop account, they go straight to payouts and they just never look back. Most lose money, including myself. So if you're going to lose money, if you have to pay tuition to the markets, do it with the least amount of money on the line. And I think $44 challenges with prop firm accounts could be a good option. Outside of that, considering where you're at financially, right? Are you at a spot where you're comfortable risking X amount per month, per year with trading. You might be someone who is much later in life that is, happy to have large 5-figure, 6-figure numbers at risk in the market, right? Just because that's where you're at financially. You might be nowhere close to that. You might say $1,000 means a lot to me. I really would prefer not to lose that. I'm going to break that up into, 5 different prop firms and trade that very slowly over the next X amount of months. That's going to be a big factor in what you consider whether you're going to go the prop firm route or the live cash account. Now, again, I still think personally, and I'm biased here, I still think prop accounts, whether or not you are at a solid place financially, are not only great learning tools and access to other people's money, but they give you a really, really massive option to scale while limiting your downside risk. So guys, if you found this video helpful, feel free, smash like, smash subscribe, use code RDF at Top 1 Futures. If you want to check these guys out, I'll link it right here. Along with that, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. I'm just an idiot here yapping on YouTube for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research, make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what we're talking about here, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures and code RDF. Talk to you guys soon. See you trading live on YouTube, 9:30 a.m. Eastern.